Hi, it's me, Olivia. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe to my channel for interesting stories and visit my Patreon page for early access. Link in the description. Thanks. Kicked off the team. I bumbled a crucial play in the ninth inning and my error cost us the game. I expected to be asked to step aside for Jim Keller. He was younger and on his way up, they said. We were in third place with 5 games left to play in the regular season and could cinch making the playoffs if we kicked it up a notch. Instead, our last chance for ending the season in first place was gone. I had let the team down. I don't know what I was thinking of. My mind wandered for a single second, and I didn't anticipate a fly ball to deep right. I had to hustle. It should have been an easy out. I bungled it and missed the catch by an inch in the sun. Then, in my haste, I juggled the ball before making my throw to third, so 2 runs scored. A potentially easy double play ended up as 2 runs against us, costing us the game and our hopes to end the season in first place. I expected to be benched and held in reserve for the remainder of the season for my error. According to what our manager had told me earlier, Jim Keller was still an unproven rookie in his book, but I knew better. Keller wasn't going to screw up a big chance to make the starting lineup for the playoffs, so I'd spend the close of the season sitting on the sidelines. Come to my office after your shower, Van. His lack of any further explanation was ominous. I had it coming and was about to get it. The manager wasted no time when I arrived. What's wrong, Van? I don't know, Ben. I was in top form until the last inning. Did you see the fantastic play I made in the fourth to retire the side? I see them all. Anything I might have missed, I review on the game videotapes. I've been watching you like a hawk, Van. For the last few games you looked as if you would rather be someplace else. Interested in being traded? What? Not at all. What makes you think that, Ben? I gave up everything to be here. You know my parents wanted me to finish college first, but I passed it up to play baseball. Baseball is my life. Every player has a bad day now and then. You had a bad day now for over 3 weeks, and it happened twice before the season alone. Sure, you usually handle your position as well as anyone, but one slip-up and a game goes down the drain, kid. We had the lead and could have ended the season on top. If every other man on the team commits an error once in every game, we'd be in last place. This is a training camp for the majors, not a public recreation center for your amusement. Money is at stake. Attendance is down. Even with our rally going, the fans aren't coming out. There is more to baseball than playing. The park costs money. The majors don't pick up the entire tab for their farm clubs. We have to generate revenue on our own. Cut it, Ben. What are you saying? I had the lecture about the forces that drive a minor league team when I arrived over 5 years ago. Am I getting the boot? No, you're too valuable to waste, but you aren't really good enough to advance to a club, and you've lost your momentum here. We're in a spot. Keller has more charisma. He's younger and shows a lot of spirit, so fans come out to see him play. You had your chance. No single, a team has shown an interest in you. You perform like an all-star for 10 games and then fizzle out again. Something must be bothering you. How's your sex life? Are you kidding? Scandal sheet reporters spy on all players to catch one of us doing something to smear the club. It's a wonder we make it to first base with a girl. We're not supposed to mess around with the local skirts, and if we ever try to see a pro, we can be dropped from the team for improper morality. The team has a public image to consider. Didn't you have a girl back home that you dated before you made it to the minors? Yeah, but she wrote me off and got married to a local accountant more than 2 years ago, Ben. I was on the road all season for 6 years. She found someone to cling to for more than a few months a year and was tired of sitting alone by the fireplace the rest of the year. This life is too hard to ask a girl to tolerate. It may be exciting to us because we're in the limelight. Women need careful cuddling and pampering on a regular basis, and the pay we get doesn't give a guy much chance to wine and dine them or show them how much we care about them. So, do you think you need to reevaluate your commitment to baseball? No. I can handle the lack of a woman in my life to satisfy occasional urges. A girlfriend would only cause me to lose track of my primary goal. Having a steady girl to worry about would make my performance on the field worse too, Ben. Which arm do you use to handle it, Van? Do you use your throwing arm or your catching arm? My sex life is none of your business. How I choose to deal with abstinence is for me to judge, not you. As long as I steer clear of loose women to prevent a public scandal, I'll do what I think is best. Thank you. Is that all for now? I want to suit up for some batting practice. I think I've been swinging late all week. Don't bother, Van. Your locker is being emptied out, so you don't have to face the team. You're a free agent as of this minute. Because I said my personal life is none of your business? Be serious. I could care less. I have a list of new talent waiting for an opening on the team as long as you're throwing arm. Some are damn good. Keller is taking your place. The coaches think he'll do a better job. I hate to admit it, but this isn't a game. It's really a tough business. Stop by office tomorrow to pick up your check. Some guys are waiting outside to wish you luck and take you to dinner. The game moves fast. People get injured. You never can tell. Another team may pick you up, Van. In the meantime, stay loose. Give me a call in a few weeks. If nothing breaks, I may be able to use you as a scout. A scout? I want to play ball, not watch other guys play. You're 26, not 19. If you want to play baseball, I suggest that you check out the AAA clubs. If you love the game itself, consider a new career in baseball that is the best use of your past experience. Scouting is a great job and a more reliable alternative to playing. It pays well and will give you a chance to travel the country more than playing. Take your time. Think it over. Let me know. Thanks, Ben. I'll think it over. I'll have your uniform cleaned and packed up ready for you when you stop in to get your check. The day after, we'll be on the road. You know the schedule for the rest of the season. If you want to talk, you'll know where to find me. Ben stood up, shook my hand, and escorted me to the door. The interview was over. I didn't get to thinking about it. 8 of my teammates were waiting for me. 8 out of 32 players were good enough to see me off. 1/4 of the team had the guts to face me. If the others were pissed because of that botched play in the 9th, I didn't want to hear or see how they felt. Anyway, in the end, they'd get a word or two from me to remind them that their own skills weren't perfect. They missed as many plays, if not more. Trouble is, Ben had Keller in reserve to replace me. It was just as well I didn't see them and burn my bridges. It was a sorry send-off after 6 years. I found later that 2 of the 8 drew short straws, and the club picked up the whole tab, including drinks. The others must have been really sore to pass up a steak dinner and free booze. Since I was no longer in training, I got sloshed. That was the basic plan from the start. The guys all figured they'd be out of town by the time I slept it off, and they were right. I hadn't had a drink in over 8 months. Most people don't know that sportsmen who have to stay in training for long periods go off the deep end at the end of a season. Either it's food or booze or women, depending on which vice is the biggest sacrifice to a player. The temptation to binge is too great to pass up. I stayed drunk for over 2 weeks. I can't be sure how long it was. I used my final paycheck to pay the next month's rent on my room and bought cheap vodka with a good part of the rest. I drank up a bloody storm, night after night, and slept it off in between. I didn't give a hoot what anybody thought, either. When the booze ran out, I started hitting bars. Many locals recognized me. I had plenty drinks offered to me, as long as I signed a few autographs. Address it to my boy. He's your greatest fan, you know. I lied about the reason for not being with the team. I claimed I tore a ligament in my shoulder reaching for that deep hit to right, saying it was the reason I bobbled the ball and overthrew third base. When one fan confronted me with a newspaper story that contradicted my lame version and threw it in my face, I slugged him for calling me a liar and got thrown in jail over it. The next day's paper had my picture on the back page. I was a sorry-looking sight. Hope of my contract being picked up by another club died. The police were polite but indignant. One said I shamed myself, my team, and gave the game of baseball another black eye. Luckily, my accuser didn't show up in court, so the judge dismissed the assault charge. To avoid further bad publicity, I was marshaled to the bus station in the closed back of a police squadron. I hawked my uniform and a wristwatch for a one-way ticket home. It's hard to explain that you are a 26-year-old retired baseball player with no other work experience or advanced career education. I got more funny looks at job interviews than a circus clown. They all shook their heads and told me that they were terribly sorry. Then they'd look at me with a frown. Could this be the drunken fool that slugged a diehard fan in a bar town where he was played ball? End of interview. Exit nearest door to the street. My drinking resumed. I tried to hide it from my folks, but that didn't last long. The first time I was brought home in a stupor, they said nothing but acted glum. The second time, they asked me to join AA. After the third binge, which lasted over 2 weeks, they shipped me off to an asylum for detoxification. That was the good part. At least, I was sober. The bad part was, I needed proof of a waiting job to be released, after they felt I could stay sober on my own. I wrote to Ben. My answer came by telegram 3 days later. I was to report to a Mr. William Cummins in Sarasota, Florida to attend a week-long seminar on the rudiments of scouting for new sports talent, if I was willing to accept the other stipulated terms of the job. A one-way bus ticket would then follow. Fax machines didn't exist at the time. The asylum director wired my acceptance for me. The ride south was tiresome, but after years of playing minor league ball, I could sleep better on a bus than in a bed. I arrived refreshed and discovered that the address I was given was his winter residence, a trailer in a mobile home park. By now you have a flavor for the extravagant lifestyle, lack thereof, that sports legends endure before they are famous, prior to their careers blossoming. It's a challenging gruel, but has its good points. Scouts, on the other hand, know that their lives will never be filled with lush contracts, personal amenities, and bulging bank books. They move from one flea-bag hotel to the next, searching for young men with undiscovered playing skill. The reward they get for their effort? A nice bonus if the fledgling turns out to be an instant winner. Some scouts are legendary as players. They are top producers for a while. If they don't find new talent regularly, their fame fades quickly. Bill Cummins was a legend to minor league players. When a manager was short a crucial man in his lineup before the start of a season, he'd get a call. Normally, his home club would let him make scouting recommendations to other clubs, but not without approval of his home team's manager. That way, they could improve their own squads by making trades and new opposing team weaknesses. Bill was to take me under his wing and send me out to evaluate players that he couldn't watch in action because he was watching another promising player on a field elsewhere. He played ball when he was younger and knew how to spot the up-and-coming rookies with potential. I recall that he was the scout that recruited me for my A debut, years before. Although we spent most of our time together after I completed the workshop, he didn't invite me to stay with him. I was assigned a room in a hotel that hosted the seminar and stayed on there when it was over. After 6 years on the road, I was used to living out of a suitcase. Since the season was drawing to a close, I was planning to return to live with my parents. Instead, Bill suggested my renting a trailer of my own in the same park as his for convenience. His grooming of my scouting skill was to continue throughout the winter, so I'd be ready for independent scouting by the coming spring. The rent wasn't cheap, but the club would gladly pay for it instead of costlier hotel rooms. My trailer was very modest compared to Bill's. My sole creature comfort was the small portable television set with a tape player built in, so I could watch tapes of his previous scouting missions. Videotapes were boxed in chronological order. Bill had close to 10 years' worth to show details of some players' capabilities and lack thereof. Experience was the best teacher according to Bill. Please subscribe for the next part and visit my Patreon page for early access. Thanks.